executive producer and creator, Chris Sheridan. Do not be filthy dirty.
During the panel, you talked about the fact that with this character, you put a lot of yourself kind of into it for the role. Now, your character on the show is very like self-sure, self-important in some way.
Like, how much of that is you?
Refuses to acknowledge what all right, and always wants that last word. How much of that is you then?
No, and when I was speaking in a panel about it, I was speaking specifically about the scene on the bench where Sheriff Mike confesses to Deputy Liv about his tragedy from his past. Although my son watches the show and he's like, "Dude, that's you." He's like, my kid is like, "Dude," I mean, he'll say to me sometimes at home, he's like, "You sound like Sheriff Mike right now," and I was like, "I'm sorry, it is what it is."
Do you find that you fall back into that role because it's like once you play it?
Yeah. I mean, Mike comes very naturally to me. He's my favorite character I've ever played, and I think it has a lot to do with the fact that what Chris let me do with him. Oftentimes when you're filming something and you're on a set, you want to try stuff, but you can't. A lot of people, or you do, and it never makes it into the episode. Like when I was on The Closer, I wanted to be funnier on there, and so I would try to do things. No, not funny on there at all. And they let me do it sometimes in the moment, but it never. The only time it made it in the cut that I did something funny on The Closer and they kept it is I think it was in season 2 or 3 when Kira's character goes to Mexico for the night and I have to babysit her kittens. And I ad-libbed a line, "That is not a litter box," with the cat. And that one made it in. But they did it in a blackout. So it was like a blackout and then you hear, "That's not a litter box." So I was like, okay. I did a lot of funny stuff in there. You just never saw it. But Chris gave me, I think the key to improvising, ad-libbing, all of that stuff is it has to be something that you're doing to honor the character. You know what I mean? Everyone on this show could stand at a microphone and dominate. All of us have the ability to steal scenes. But I think the trust in that improvisational skill and why we're allowed to do it is none of us really do it in what we would consider to be a self-serving way. All of these ad-libs, listen, you can come up with all sorts of stuff that makes you as an individual look great or be funny or whatever, but when we do that type of stuff, it's always in the realm of how does it service the show overall, more so than does Corey get a good laugh, At least that's how I look at it.
Does Patience even have an actual physical jail?
That's a good question. I believe there's a jailhouse in the town hall. I think there must be a jail in there somewhere.
Just like a multi-purpose building?
Yeah, like a holding cell or something like that. But no, we never put anyone in jail. No.
Best friend city ever.
Yeah, you know what I mean? No crime. No. Thank you so much. Okay, all right. See you guys later.
You want the chicken in?
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess 5 minutes I'll do a weapon warning.
Okay. If you could just say I went to Juilliard real quick.
This is where I keep my diploma. This is the case.
Real quickly, specifically, they talk about potentially moving down the line. I know you're a very busy man with a lot of projects. Would you come back if they were making a movie?
Oh, hell yeah. And I've mentioned a couple of times today, I like the idea of Resident Alien versus Predator. I don't know how we can get, I think we're crossing IPs there, but
let's do it.
I'd love to do it.
Hey, how you doing?
Oh, Chris.
Yeah, love it. I'll slouch.
Jump right in with a quick question.
Yeah.
You took Alice to a very dark place this season. Is it hard writing or going through a story like that with a character?
Yeah.
Because you always see in those shows, they always put that little warning at the end of every episode because of it.
It is hard.
Pause.
No, it's hard, and I went back and forth with the studio about that warning, And I was fine to do it. Like, I'm okay doing something if you're having problems, whatever, thinking about suicide. And they said, no, we think it was handled in such a way we don't necessarily need to do that. And I was like, it's up to you, but I'm fine doing it. It's a tough subject. Yeah, it's tough to write. Nashker and Divide did a lot of the heavy lifting in that scene. But any of those scenes that you have to write on the show, I remember early on, and this is a separate thing, but like writing, helping craft and write the scene where Sheriff Mike has to tell Deputy Liv early on about his partner dying, which is a very emotional scene for Corey. But it's emotional to write because I think to effectively write these scenes and these arcs, and Darcy's arc this year, you have to be inside of them in the same way the actor has to be to portray it. But as you're writing it, you can't write it effectively unless you are them in that moment. And that moment might be 5 hours as you're trying to figure it out. So you have to live in Darcy for hours to know how she would feel and know how she would react and know where she'd go and know what she would say. And it's a really sad place to be because that character is really sad. Alice was a huge help in that journey, and I hope you get an opportunity to ask her about it. We talked to her a lot about that, and she was a huge help in the story, telling that story in an authentic way. But I think it's powerful, and I think it's important because this season I wanted to put all the characters in a situation where they're finding their happiness and finding a way to find what's positive inside of them, so that in this theme of connectivity we always have, so that when they do connect to the group, they're bringing a positive version of themselves. So the group is not just strong, but positive and happy. And then to write something for Darcy going through this, I try to tap into things that I've gone through and sadness that I've had and feelings that I've had, so I can effectively try to do that. But mostly you become kind of a chameleon and you try to really feel what that character is feeling and try to be inside of them. So there's a piece of me, I think, as a writer in all of them. But this is the first thing I've done where I don't feel like I couldn't pick out one writer, one actor, or one character who I feel like, oh, that's me.
There's that general rule of like show, don't tell.
Yeah.
And with Alice's going through that thing, you did both.
Yeah.
And normally you'd say like, one must be the other, but I loved the way that you presented her feelings emotionally, visually to the audience.
Yeah.
But there was just something so powerful in the moment when she said, like when she said to, Alice's character about like, where she was at and like how she felt.
Yeah.
That right there for me was like the most gutting moment. Like all of it was like tough to watch.
Like when she which scene are you talking about? When she finally told
really tells her that she was considering committing suicide.
Yeah.
She says the words out loud.
Yes.
That was so brutal. Was it important to you that you wanted to use like the actual saying those words, or did that just kind of come into play with?
It's a character thing. We played it out in that original scene. It felt much more powerful with Harry that she doesn't come out and say it because it's hard for her to say it because you don't want to admit it that you're feeling those things. So it all comes from character and trying to feel like, well, that's what I was saying before. Like if you're in Darcy's body, how would she present this information? It would be really hard where she is right now, which is contemplating it. She couldn't say it out loud. She wanted him to get it and help her. She didn't want to have to say it. And he did get it. But then in the next episode with Asta, in that moment, what felt real and authentic is that she would just tell her, well, here's why I didn't show up because of this. Because then it's on Asta to be like, oh shit.
The funny thing is, I actually got the opposite opinion. I felt she went to Harry because she wanted him to tell her to do it.
I love that.
Because the fact that he's just so like cold and doesn't care, and then literally like approaches like a new Harry that literally found his soul.
Yeah.
And it's like
a great way to look at it. It's a great way to look at it. I can see it both ways. I mean, I think she didn't know what to do, didn't know who to go to, but yeah, what she wanted was to go to Harry because if she should do it, he would tell her, and she knew that, and if he did, that probably is what would happen. So I love that it can be looked at a couple different ways, but the performances were great.
So you made one of the major choices of working with children in Hollywood, which is always a dangerous choice.
Dangerous.
And then COVID happened.
Yeah.
and time happened.
Yeah.
Now you have the miraculously aging
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
boy shoots up like a reed.
Unbelievable.
How difficult was that? Or are you just like, let's not acknowledge it?
We acknowledged it. I don't know. I don't remember what was left in, to be honest, if we acknowledged it on screen. I think we acknowledged it twice, and I think I might have cut them both out. We tried to write to it, like, oh no, I think at one point she said he's growing like a weed or something like that. I mean, the reality is this does happen, especially once cable and streaming started and there's a year and a half or 2 years between Sopranos seasons, and it's like, oh, they're older, but it's like the next day. Audiences are saying Stranger Things, 100%. Like Breaking Bad, the same thing. Mad Men, same thing. So in this world of, it's not 4 months in between seasons, it's 2 years between seasons, audiences have gotten very savvy and realized, oh, these are just the kids. They're older and you just buy it. I was leaning on that because the other thing to do would be recast. And I just didn't want to do that. Because from a personal level, like, it's not these kids' fault that they're giant now. Like, you can figure it out, I can't wait for you to see the end of the season. Like, it's incredible. Thank you.
So your character went to a very dark place this season. You pulled out a lot of drama, and you've been slowly building up to it all through all 4 seasons. What was it like to really just pull out the stops and bring up the tears in people?
It was exhausting. You get really tired from crying that much. You have to drink a lot of water because it comes out your face. There was some intense acting involved. I really had to focus, but there was other parts that they didn't really require any acting because we knew we were saying goodbye to patients, and we love it there, and we love each other, and we were, feeling a lot of grief. We were grieving, and so sometimes we didn't have to do anything at all. We just had to show up to work and be like, I hate everything.
So I know I've seen you streaming on TikTok with your gameplay, and I know you're going to have Sarah come join you on your podcast. Are you going to try to see if she can join you on streaming some video games too?
She's already been on this streaming. Yeah, there's clips online if you want to. I think I Instagrammed them a while back, but she, I introduced her to Echoes of Wisdom. She's a huge Zelda fan, so I showed her first playthrough of Echoes of Wisdom was with me on the stream. So stuff like that. The problem is, like, I don't really have a studio set up right now. I'm renovating, so. But yeah, she's never gonna not be on that. As long as I stream, she'll be making appearances.
On that note, what is your favorite video game since you like to stream video games?
There's a lot of different kinds of games to stream. I've streamed Zelda a lot. It was wonderful. But right now I'm streaming No Man's Sky, and it's a really good game. The fandom is generally great. There's very few jerks, but it's also the kind of game that it's user generated. Your experience is very user generated, which I like. It's very relaxing, so I don't get distracted by too many space battles. But then everyone's it's so I get to make the focus just talking to the chat or whatever I want.
So your character interacts with pretty much everyone. Some of the characters don't interact with other characters. So what was your favorite character interaction in the entire run of the series?
Ooh, my favorite character direction.
Interaction.
Oh, interaction.
You another character on the show.
Okay, different question. Thank you for clarifying.
I'll take the other one too. They sound great.
I'm gonna answer both. I have to say, let me think back. I loved the pilot, first of all. I think it's a really strong pilot. It shows a great blend of the comedy and the drama. So I think my first interaction with Harry's strength, showing him who I am by walking in the snow in my bare feet and being honest all of a sudden with a stranger about who I am and what I've been through,
two felt like, I don't know, a weird moment where it's like, why are you sharing this with a stranger? And yet we've all had those moments where it's like, I think a little bit like, well, I'm never going to see them again, so I can say whatever I need to say. So I love that interaction. It just starts us off strong. But I have to say, recently, season 4, I really loved Joseph, the deputy, in my life. Now, I was all about, and I told Chris, I do not think Asa would be in a relationship. I think she just needs some good sexual health in her life. I need some good mental wellness happening. But it's hilarious that he falls in love with her and proposes, you know. So I loved that. He's such a strong actor. It was such great comedy. And that scene on the beach with his face mangled and his arm off, and he's like, I can still get it up. And you're like, oh my God, good to know. You know what I mean? But also, that's not the way. So I love that. But that's so different from where she was in the pilot to like where she's at in season 4. So I think that shows her art. Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen,